And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Week 5, the North American LCS. I'm joined by Meteos and Hai after what is one of the best, most exciting comebacks I think I have ever witnessed in League of Legends. First of all, congratulations. That was a hard-fought victory. I want to try to take you back all the way back to the beginning, all the way back to the start. Let's talk through picks and bans. I overheard you guys talking about Nunu. What do you think about the decision there, Meteos?
I hate that champion. I was really hoping they would ban it because they didn't. I didn't want to play against it. I was like, I guess I'll play Nunu. And that was like the most painful game of my life. I'm not good at him. I don't like him at all.
I want to talk about your ultimates with Nunu in particular, because we've seen it was comboed with Zyra, which is another champion that we've seen from you guys that we haven't seen all split long. You guys were staggering your ultimates really well. Have you practiced that? Was it just something that happened?
Not really. That's our first time we played Nunu in like 2 weeks. Like, we randomly picked Nunu because we didn't want to play versus it. And then we also did the random lane swap with me and Balls because like Balls doesn't like 1v2s. And I was like, I got this. But then I died like 4 times. So not only did we pick a random champion we haven't played, we also did a random lane swap. And we were just getting dumpstered all game.
So talk to me, why do you do the random picks? Why do you go for the random pick and the random lane swap? Was it just the pressure that it was Vulcan, a team that's beat you guys already? Or?
I think that was part of it. Our bans and picks weren't as prepped as they could have been. We kind of banned ourselves out a little bit with the Ken and Elise, and we forgot they played Eve. So our bans were pretty sloppy that game. And then, yeah, the Nunu was just a complete takeaway. Like, I didn't want to play against it because that's almost as bad as playing it. And so, yeah, it wasn't as good as it should have been.
I got a question for you, Hai. You had a very shaky early game. I mean, you were 0-3, 0-4 at one point. Look, let's be honest, they were camping you. They were giving you a lot of love. They were visiting your tower. But you guys managed to pull it back. So for you personally, how difficult is it coming back from that deficit to a position where you can actually kill people as Zed?
I don't know, I just started laughing. The game was funny, like we were getting destroyed. We're down like 13,000 gold. I'm like, all right, if we can like stall the game like 50 minutes, we might win, guys. So then like our entire team just started having fun with it. We were losing, we're getting smashed. No one was getting mad at each other because we all knew like this game was like probably over unless like we do something sweet. So it's just like, we stayed in good morale, we just stayed in a good mood, and I was just like farming. And like once I got Botchka and last was from like, it doesn't matter how farmed they are, I'm Zed with 2 items, I can always kill them no matter what. So it's just like, I don't know, man.
That's really great to hear, talking about the mindset in-game, because you guys were behind for a very long time, and it was the engagement that when you caught out Smithy at your blue buff. You managed to pick him up, then you got 2 more kills, and you guys rolled around to Baron. What was the call within the team? Now, you've talked about you there, but when you got that first Baron, was there that like real glimmer of hope? Like, hey, maybe we can do this now?
Well, when we caught Smithy, I like barely saw him on a pink ward, and I was like, oh, he's over here. And then we baited out his W from some other slow, and then I just like flashed and ice balled him, and so we got that pick off. After we got the first Baron, we were kind of like, is this really happening? Like, I can't believe we just got a Baron when we're this far behind. And then we weren't fully thinking we'd get back into it, but then after like the second and third Baron, we're like, wow, we can actually win this game.
How is it possible that you survived long enough to get 2 and 3 Barons, Hai? What was it that either you did right or Vulcan did wrong that allowed you to actually get back in that game?
Well, they had a tower dive us to take turrets. Like, we had a decent wave clear, so it's either they had a man up and tower dive us, and which they didn't do that. They tried to split push still. So, like, they just, like, let us stall out the game. They could have towered up and probably destroyed us when they had, like, 13,000 gold. But Evelyn built, like, a Deathfire Grasp or something, no Hourglass. So, like, if he ran in, he would probably just die. So if they changed their builds and actually dived us when they were that far ahead, they probably would have won the game. But they kind of got, like, scared and, like, didn't want to throw, which is, like understandable, but like they ended up throwing anyway because like they didn't dive us. They were supposed to dive us, but they didn't, so like it worked out for us. And we have very good counter engage anyway. We have the Zyra ulti and the Nunu ulti, so like if they do dive us, it might turn out very bad for them. So
it was a difficult position for them to be in, and it was one that you guys managed to capitalize on. It was fantastic. It was extremely exciting to watch, and I know that throughout the entirety of that match, everyone's going, there's no ways this can happen. So you guys are now sitting 11-2. It's your second victory of the day. Earlier in the day, you guys took out CLG, which was a pretty good game as well. Talk me through some of those victories. Now, that game was a little bit slower paced as well. It wasn't necessarily as hard in your control. Now you've picked up 2 wins against teams that have beaten you. How does that make you feel going into the rest of the split?
It's a pretty good morale booster. I thought this would be like one of the hardest days we've had in a while, CLG and Vulcan, because we've lost to both of them, and they're both really good teams. So it feels really good to beat them. And yeah, that's about it.
So like against Vulcan, we just like, throughout the game, we're just like, bring out our inner CLG, guys. We got this. Bring out our CLG. We're like the next CLGE or something. It's just like, I don't know. We kind of used what they did against us against Vulcan. And then against CLG, they just kind of got snowballed on, which is a respectable way to lose. We almost lost that way too. So like, I don't know. It's pretty sweet that we won both those games. I'm happy.
Yeah, well, you guys are sitting in a position where you're looking to go again 3-0, maybe picking up another, undefeated week. Tomorrow you play Velocity Esports. They unfortunately lost both of their matches today. Have you guys got anything special planned for them? Any picks or bans, maybe not locking in Nunu?
We have a ban and pick sheet. We do that for every team every week. So we already have a sheet back on our notebook. It's our secret notebook that no one can see. So we'll probably go back, look at it, and review it one more time so that we don't do the same mistake we did against Vulcan, because we forgot about their Evelyn and Shen comp. So as long as we go look and review it over again and look at what Velocity plays, we probably won't get caught out in our ban and pick phase again. So
does that include Echo in the playbook, or is it still with Vile Rose?
It did not include Echo in the playbook. We didn't know he was here until we got here. So now he plays Ari and TF, so now we have to count that into the playbook.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys can update that playbook as quickly as possible. Congratulations again, going 2-0, and thank you guys so much for actually, stopping by and putting on such a fantastic game. I think that's probably the biggest comeback that we've had in the LCS in terms of gold, kills, and absolutely everything. So fantastically well done. That is it from us here on the couch, ladies and gentlemen, for day 1 of week 5 here at the North American LCS. We have seen 6 awesome games that have been relatively one-sided, and I think we're going to have some awesome replays with Jat over at Replay Central.
Thank you very much, Quick Shot. And I want to break down a couple of fights that may have swung the favor back into Cloud9. I obviously can't cover everything, but here are the things that stood out for me. So this was the first one, and this is always the most important fight. Remember going in that this is a 4v5. Eve had recently been killed in the jungle. So Vulcan is all grouped up in mid, 3 right here, trying to be defensive from Cloud9, who's really far away at this point. So what Cloud9 tries to do is they try to cut around from multiple angles and close in exactly on Vulcan as they're trying to run away. Let's roll this at full speed to see how it happens. ManCloud sticks around a little bit to keep them back, but then Balls comes in from the flank, and he actually flashes for an initiation. Let's pause it here. Now, remember this is a 4v5. ManCloud has just used both his stun and his wild card, so he is essentially out of damage from here on out. Psycho Sid is a tank, but can he reach Sneaky? Because that's essentially what he has to do. And there's no Eve around the back to be able to get for him. So if we compare the 80 carries in this fight, when we see it play out, Zuna versus Sneaky, who has to move and who has to react to the enemy versus who does the most damage. Let's roll this at half speed to see what happens. Even though Hai doesn't have his ultimate, he's still keeping Zuna at bay, and Zuna's not hitting priority targets, whereas Sneaky basically gets to pick whatever he wants to hit because there is no backline pressure on him because Eve wasn't there in the 4v5. So despite this 12,000 gold disadvantage, if we now speed this fight up to full speed, Vulcan had to bail out because they did not have the positioning and they got zoned out by Cloud9's brilliant circle control there. So this was the first fight. Cloud9 took a Baron off of it and then started their stall. This was actually a Baron later. There was a fight in between this that Cloud9 won as well, where they also took a Baron, but the Baron's out because this was a huge, really big gold lead that they had to come back from. It's still only 7,000, but let's roll the start of this clip just to see how this next fight plays out. The Ash Arrow hit Zuna, and if we actually pause it right here, we'll see how low his health has just been taken. There was so much chaos, he actually had to burn his flash there, so Zuna can no longer disengage. And once again, we need to look at the difference between, gonna use red again, Zuna and Sneaky, and how they have to react to the enemy team. Vulcan doesn't put pressure onto Sneaky to change his targets, even if he's buffed up his new Ash, whereas Zuna is immediately taken out of the fight. And then the only other thing we need to keep track of is ManCloud's combos versus the DPS turret that is Balls' Rise. Let's watch this fight play out at half speed to see just why Cloud9 was able to win despite their gold disadvantage. Zuna's gone at the start of the fight. So Sneaky then gets to hit whatever he wants because there's no threat behind him. X-Smithy could never make it around the back. ManCloud could never get damage out for the turrets of damage right there. And everyone on Cloud9 got to do what they wanted in these fights. Let's roll the rest of it at full speed. Shortly after this, the Baron respawned again, and Cloud9 got a 3rd Baron of the game. This was the comeback of the season for Cloud9, and it showed why they're the first place team and why you keep a positive attitude when you're down in the game. Let's send it back to the guys at the desk.
Thanks, Chad, for the replays on an awesome day of games. And with today's 6 games in our match history, let's take a look at the standings. Cloud9's incredible comeback win has opened up their summer split lead to 3 games over second place Vulcan, while CLG and Team Coast are tied for 3rd at 7-6.
In 5th place, it's Team Solo Mid with a 7-7 record, while Dignitas, Curse, and Velocity remain at the bottom of the standings.
And coming up tomorrow on the NALCS, we have 6 more games. First, it's Curse taking on Counterlogic Gaming, then Dignitas battles Coast, and Cloud9 squares off against Velocity.
After that, TSM fights CLG, Vulcan takes on Coast, and Dignitas faces off against Curse.
It all starts Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 10 p.m. Central European Time. And that does it for today's broadcast of the NALCS. For myself, Kobe, Quickshot, Chat, and the entire live broadcast crew, thanks for watching. Hasta luego.
So good.
Reginald is in a lot of trouble. The flash from Bloodwater, 4 for 0. Vulcan go huge.
Oh my God! We got it!
Is the follow-up there? He misses the flash, but he hits the Peacemaker.
Go on, Cop, go on, Cop, go on, Cop. Got him. Go mid.